there, and welcome to a very special brunch episode of Bet. He's Tyler Foljam. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. These are the Link Studios overlooking Caesars Palace. For those of you who have been catching us on Facebook, on Twitter, and the ESPN app, thank you so much. There's a new way to get us as well. YouTube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We got bumped up in the rotation today.
I like it. We do look like we're ready to brunch with the boys or the gals. Where's my mimosa at, Fortenbaugh?
Mimosas, croissants, whatever you might like to do.
Bloody Mary, depending on how much I drank the night before.
Hair of the dog is what they call that. And I never understood the rationale behind that, but it sounds good. Just like today will hopefully sound good to you over the next 30 minutes. We've got a lot to get to with Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Heat-Lakers, a lot to break down on NFL MVP odds.
Right.
But since it's Wednesday, we begin with a little segment we like to call Let It Ride or Cash Out.
Okay.
Seems relatively straightforward, does it not? Not confusing or anything like that, is it?
I think I can handle it, but
right.
I'm merely just a college graduate, so I don't know yet.
I think you're going to do just fine, my friend. Let it ride or cash out. The opening segment we do here is going to be the cash out portion.
Okay.
The second segment is going to be the let it ride portion. So let's begin with the cashing out.
Okay.
7 NFL teams, the Steelers, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Bears, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Packers are all 3-0. So we're going to work our way through those teams and try to figure out who are you cashing out on, which will be the first 3-0 team to lose.
Okay.
We begin with the Steelers and Titans matchup because it's a battle of two 3-0 teams. Take me through your thoughts on this matchup.
So ostensibly, big word. Someone's going to lose unless they tie. Now,
if it's Philadelphia, it's going to be a tie.
Here's the issue. Who knows if this game is going to be played?
Yeah.
Right now, we have this game being postponed until Monday, maybe Tuesday, because of the Tennessee Titans having a few players and a few team personnel testing positive for COVID. So they shut down the entire team operation, and Pittsburgh is now in the lurch. The team that they just played, the Minnesota Vikings, could be affected by this as well, though to this point, the Vikings have not reported any positive COVID tests. So it remains to be seen if this game between two undefeateds leading their respective divisions in the AFC, Joe, is going to be played at all. But if it is going to be played, you would assume, again, barring a miraculous tie, that one of these 3-0 teams takes an L. And to this point, you let me know if you agree or not, I've been more impressed with the Pittsburgh Steelers than I have with the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 3-0, but they're 0-3 against the spread. They're squeaking out wins. Their defense is bad so far this season. They're giving up more than 6 yards per play, which is 30th in the National Football League. Mike Vrabel is supposed to be known for his defense, but that defense is what's keeping other teams in the game. And Ryan Tannehill, who's played great this year, has had to bail them out.
I would agree with you. I think when you look at the 4 units between the two offenses and the two defenses, it's the Pittsburgh defense that I can hang my hat on.
Best unit on the field.
I can pull it up late at night.
Great
It'll keep me nice and warm, nice and comfortable. Roethlisberger looks stiff back there, but he's got weapons to get it done. I don't trust Tennessee. I really don't. I'm going to go down with that ship. I didn't like him last year. I got burned multiple times. I don't like him this year. Too many one-score games. It's thin. They have such small margins for error. They find ways to get it done like Seattle, but eventually it's going to come crashing down. Speaking of Seattle, they're in Miami to take on the Dolphins. Likelihood the Dolphins spring the upset here. It's probably going to be a one-score game like all Seattle games.
Likelihood is 12 to 15% for me.
Quite specific.
Russell Wilson is obviously the great equalizer, but let's not get it twisted. Seattle's defense is kind of trash. Seattle's defense is not very good. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has been a pro's pro this year. He's going out there as the wily veteran.
10 days to get ready.
And exactly, keeping Miami competitive and in games. And I think Fitzpatrick can kind of keep up with Russell Wilson.
Not very confident, that statement.
I mean, again, they don't generate much of a pass rush, do the Seattle Seahawks.
They don't cover.
Fitzpatrick, they don't cover, they don't tackle. So that's a recipe for a defense that Fitzpatrick can kind of exploit. It's just they don't have the weaponry. They don't have DK Metcalf. They don't have Tyler Lockett's. They don't even have, I don't think, a Carlos Hyde who might play and start this game because of the Chris Carson injury. You look at Miles Boykin, Jordan Howard, Matt Breida. Devontae Parker is good, but I think he's playing right now at less than 100% with a hamstring injury. Preston Williams, Mike Gesicki is very good. He's a good tight end target.
Penn State.
But I just don't know if there's enough firepower to keep up with Russell Wilson, because I do think Russell's going to hang 4 or 5 touchdowns on Miami's defense again. He's locked in the zone, but I would not say it's impossible. I do think Miami could spring the upset. Again, it's probably somewhere in the 10 to 15%.
This is one of those situations where if I say to myself, you know what, I'm going to get clever. I'm going to bet against the Seahawks. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to lose again. Every time I get clever, like with Miami in week 1, or excuse me, Atlanta in week 1, I get burned. Russell Wilson burns me repeatedly. I'm not even getting involved in that. The Bears 3-0.
Yeah.
Moving to Nick Foles. Hosting Indianapolis. Likelihood they survive.
This one's dicey because I think Indianapolis is just a better team. Even with Nick Foles installed as the quarterback going forward, I do think that upgrades the Bears overall, especially their offense. But I do think Indianapolis is the better team than Chicago. So,
Okay. Take me to the Buffalo Bills, who are traveling out here to take on the Raiders. Raiders have an awful loss against New England. I don't know what Gruden was doing kicking that field goal at the end of the game to go from a 2-score game to a 2-score game. Mathematically, not a very great decision.
I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo's just a better team all around. Josh Allen's obviously raised his level of play. Buffalo's defense is way better than the Vegas Raiders defense. So even though they're on the road at the new Big Al, I do like Buffalo to win that game
Big
confidently.
Roomba. The Chiefs will be hosting the Patriots. Is this the week Patty Mahomes goes down? I thought it was just going to happen. By the way, that's for you. Great call, switching up at the last second.
That was a last-second move to Pat Mahomes. I got a few bones here to stack.
Some roulette right there.
I got to figure out which number I want to put it on to try and win.
You like 7,
36-1. I do like 7. Never count out Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach in the history of the game, and would it shock anyone if he devises a game plan that slows down Mahomes and Andy Reid? As great as Andy Reid has been and Eric Bieniemy have been designing plays and utilizing the entire offense, not just the big targets, but guys like Anthony Sherman and Eric Fisher as well. So I do like the Chiefs in this game, but it shouldn't shock anyone if the Patriots pull the upset because their head coach is still who?
Bill Belichick.
Exactly.
William Belichick. Monday night. Packers hosting the Falcons. Falcons get a huge lead and blow it.
Exactly what's going to happen because the Packers defense hasn't been that great this year. It's just Aaron Rodgers scoring basically 40 points a game. So I would not be shocked at all if this is the game script. Matt Ryan comes out, throws a few touchdowns.
I can't watch any more of this.
They're up 21-3, and then Rodgers rips their heart out and comes back, and they win the game 38-33.
All right, so we're going to do Let It Ride following this, but now you have to cash out. One of those 7-3-0 teams. Who's going to lose first? Cashing out on who?
If the game is played on Monday or Tuesday, if it is a Week 4 matchup and the Titans and Steelers actually take the field and play 60 or 60-plus minutes of football, I like the Steelers to win and end the undefeated season for Mike Vrabel's Titans. Again, at 6.5 yards per play, 30th in the NFL. That's Tennessee's defense.
Not good when you only have 32 teams.
Not
for college football, it's like, hey, they're
all.
top 30.
And allowing 5.8 yards per carry, which is dead last in the NFL. They have the worst rushing defense on that metric, yards per carry. So I do think Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner, and the Steelers would get a victory there because, as you pointed out, they have the best unit on the field, their defense.
I like where your head's at. I'm
cashing out the Titans.
They were my second favorite. I am cashing out the Chicago Bears. I hate to do it. Love the great city of Chicago. You used to live there. I hope you don't take it as a personal slight.
I don't.
The first thing out of the gate, the Colts are laying points at Chicago. Right away, I looked at that and thought, the Bears aren't even a pick'em at home. They've got a good defense. They're 3-0. That Colts team's a little shaky. We saw it in week 1. I like them, but they're still a little shaky. I'm going to take the Bears to lose this game. Colts are coming in as the favorite, and here's the other thing. Everyone excited about Nick Foles. I know Nick Foles from the Philadelphia years. I love Nick Foles. Thank you for the only Super Bowl I'll ever get in my entire life, Nick Foles. I love you for that. But Nick Foles coming off the bench is what you rally behind. Nick Foles as your starter is what you don't rally behind. That's the lesson Chicago's going to find out the hard way. The Bears are going down this weekend.
If the Titans-Steelers game isn't played, can I jump on your bandwagon?
You may.
And take the Bears as the first 3-0 team to take it out?
You may.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, moving on. That was the cash out section. Now we're going to play the Let It Ride section. Who were you letting it ride with when it comes to NFL MVP? We're going to throw some odds up here in a second. Russell Wilson is currently your favorite. I got notes for days over here.
Woo.
There we go.
And we got graphics for days.
Russ has made a few plays this season, plus 225. Patty Mahomes right behind him. And it's your boy Aaron Rodgers. You've been hyping him up since the beginning of the year. Lamar Jackson did not look good at all Monday night against the Chiefs. Did barely complete any passes. I'm not sure how that gets him above Josh Allen. I'm assuming that's because Lamar Jackson is a much more popular pick and people haven't really bought into Allen just yet. But take me through some of the thought processes here. I mean, you could let it ride with almost any of these guys. Well, throw it like this. Would you cash out on any of them?
Well, I think Russell Wilson is obviously someone who, even though he's the favorite right now, like, let's think about the likelihood that Russell Wilson is going to slow down. Like we pointed out, his defense can't stop a nosebleed. So I think Russ is going to have to keep putting up 3, 4, 5 touchdown games. So are the odds going to get better for Russ? I imagine this is the best odds you're going to get on Russ at any point in the season unless they take an unexpected L to Miami this weekend, which, again, I don't see happening.
He's going to be great all year. His numbers are going to be there. What worries me is that if that defense stinks that they have there, he loses 4 or 5 games because of them, then he's got this record of, say, 11-5, 12-4. And while that's great, if Mahomes is sitting there 13-3, 14-2, that's going to be an edge. That's going to be a big edge. So I think people like to bet on wins. We know that, like in pitching, he's 6-0 this year. Would you rather have the guy who's 6-0 with a 9 ERA or the guy who's 0-6 with a 1 ERA?
Yes.
You'd rather have the pitcher who's 0-6 with a 1 ERA because he's the better pitcher. He's just not getting runs.
Shocking that some people still don't understand that.
They do not, but they buy into the concept of wins, and it's the wins mattering. For Russ, it shouldn't matter because he has been incendiary. But at the same time, if that defense burns him, as I play back into the incendiary big word,
that's a nice one. I think my mom, if she's watching, is going to be very impressed with your pull from the Merriam-Webster dictionary there, incendiary. Nice.
But that's the thing that would end up hurting him a bit. But he's going to stack the odds, no doubt. If you're letting it ride, who are you letting it ride with? A lot of great options up there.
I'm going to let it ride right now with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers, again, let's talk about what he has done with Matt LaFleur as his head coach.
LaFleur.
They're 16-3 together. And now that they're in a second year where they have better understanding of what they like to do, and Rodgers has no opposing crowds to deal with at the line of scrimmage, he's making checks and just letting that bad boy fly. I mean, I call Aaron Rodgers Pat Mahomes 1.0. Because before there was Pat Mahomes, it was Aaron Rodgers who would make ridiculous throws on a line.
Wouldn't you just say Pat Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers 2.0?
No, because I think Mahomes is actually better.
You like to reverse engineer it?
I think Mahomes is actually a little bit more dynamic with his arm strength. But Aaron Rodgers is Pat Mahomes 1.0.
Aaron Rodgers is Pat Mahomes 1.0.
And now we have the real Pat Mahomes. 2.0 is like,
but
it's like Terminator 2.
Aaron Rodgers 2.0.
No. It's like Terminator 2. Obviously, the second Terminator, he was better than the original Arnold, even though Arnold won. In T2, that dude who can like morph into a
Robert Patrick,
very good, nice call. But
Great movie.
I mean, his ability as a Terminator was way better. Like he could get liquid, he could turn invisible. He was awesome. So I like Aaron Rodgers. I want to let it ride plus 700 on Aaron Rodgers. Can I please do that with Pat Mahomes?
To defeat him, you had to luckily find yourself in some giant steel factory where you could throw him into the molten lava. How fortunate for everyone who's going against him.
I don't think that's going to happen to Rodgers this year. So again, that's why I'm on him.
I'm going with Mahomes for the reason I laid out earlier. I'm not getting a great price. Every doubt I had about Kansas City this year, we just saw Monday night against the Ravens. There's not going to be a let-up. There's not going to be a Super Bowl letdown. I came into the season thinking, maybe they get a little bit complacent. They hammered Baltimore. They win nothing but big games. He puts up nothing but huge numbers. He doesn't make mistakes. He always keeps his team in it. I think Russell Wilson's defense will inevitably hurt him. It will cost him some games. And if Mahomes is sitting there 15-1 or 14-2, it's going to be very difficult to give him the award. Although I really do like the Aaron Rodgers pick, given the price right now, because he is balling out of his mind. No love for Josh Allen from either of us.
No love from Josh Allen. I will say another name that might be great value right now because he's coming off a loss is Kyler Murray. Remember the MVP talk through 2 weeks?
Kyler Murray.
Now they lose to Detroit, and if they somehow rebound and win the NFC West, and Murray has a sophomore campaign like Mahomes and Jackson did the prior years, he could be the next in line to go from winning that Heisman, although Mahomes did not, to then winning an MVP in his second year. So off the loss to Detroit, I think Murray provides great value if you want to get a value pick on an MVP right now because he has the ability to win that award. Okay, we got to transition. Basketball Game 1 NBA Finals tonight. It's the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. The Lakers currently laying about 4.5 as the favorite. Total sitting anywhere from 217.5 to 218 depending on where you're shopping. This game will start 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC, so make sure you're ready to go. How, if you are the Miami Heat, do you even contemplate defending LeBron James, your boy? They've done very well doing such. I just saw a graphic on SportsCenter when we were getting ready for this show, and it had, since 2014-15, when LeBron left the Miami Heat, they have held him to the second furthest average field goal distance. Think about what LeBron does. Specific. Think of what LeBron does. He gets to the rim and he scores easy buckets. That's how he gets his buckets. Miami makes it difficult for him because they have given him the second furthest average field goal attempt distance, which, again, LeBron, not a great shooter, mid-range or three-point shooter, so that lowers his efficiency. They have the second best field goal percentage in the paint against LeBron since 2014-15 of any team that he has played against. So Spoelstra knows how to do this. And when you look at this personnel,
you think this is a direct response of Spoelstra, knowing LeBron very well, having coached
Pat
him?
Riley and Eric Spoelstra, being great basketball minds, know exactly what LeBron's strengths and weaknesses are, know exactly where LeBron wants to get to on the floor, how he wants to set up people, how he wants to set himself up to drive and or score. And I think what's the most glaring thing about Miami doing that over the past 5-6 years is this is probably the best team they've had in terms of personnel to execute a game plan. So I love the under on LeBron, the player prop on under points for LeBron in game one. It's 28.5. And usually LeBron teams don't fare well in game ones of playoff series. It's even further exacerbated in game ones of NBA Finals where he's 1-8.
Exacerbated. Look at us. Incendiary, exacerbated. You had one right off the top of the show.
I don't remember what it was, but baby, we're on fire today.
It sounded great.
But they're 1-8 LeBron-led teams in his 9 NBA Finals he's played so far in game ones.
That's one great stat.
That's
there are lots of great
significant
stats.
trend.
I believe he's 40, 48, and 1 against the spread in all finals games. All finals games. We'll get to more of that with picks in just a moment. Miami, to me, has benefited more than any team that went to Orlando and played in this bubble. There were the Sixers and Miami who had the most dramatic home road splits in the NBA.
Sure.
Miami at home. Now, take the final 8 games in the bubble out of the equation. Miami at home was 27-5. A lot of people call that the South Beach flu.
Sure.
Go down there, have
I've
yourself
had
a
that
nice
before.
time. So fine. Super Bowl last year. Radio Row was not very impressive, shall we say, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. 14-19 on the road. Sixers were the same way. They were terrible on the road, outstanding at home. Miami goes into the bubble. They didn't have to worry about going to Indiana in the first round. They didn't have to go to Milwaukee in the first round, who conversely was probably hurt the most by having no home court advantage. And then they didn't have to worry about going to the Garden at any point.
And they don't have to go to Staples Center for game one and game two.
And I think Miami has that huge advantage. People are shocked that they're here. Why? They're a good basketball team.
Great basketball.
We haven't programmed people. The people on TV haven't told you for a year, Miami's going to be great. They have a big three. We were all convinced you needed a big three in order to compete in the NBA. Then suddenly here comes Miami. Hey, it's good players, good depth, good coaching, good management. That wins too.
Yes, it absolutely does. And I actually think Miami's going to win game one. I'm going to keep riding that trend. I've done it all this postseason with LeBron.
You love LeBron, but you keep betting against him in game one, and you are winning and making
Is
money.
that not the trend that he has shown us?
It's
and
there.
After watching and observing LeBron all these years, I really do get a sense, not that he's passive in game ones, but that he probes. He's probing to figure out the ways that these teams are going to scheme up defensive schemes against him and how personnel is going to be used against him. So then he banks that after game one, and then games 2 and beyond in the series, he knows this is where I can take advantage of them. This is where this scheme leaves them vulnerable or leaves them weak. This is where I have to get my shots off. They're going to pack the paint, so I have to become a three-point shooter, or they're going to spread and take away my passing options, so I have to be assertive and aggressive, driving to the rim and be the primary scorer rather than someone who sets people up. So I just think that's the way that LeBron plays chess against other teams. Game one, let me figure out what you're going to do. And it's almost a little possum, because if they win game one, the opposition, then it validates the scheme they used against them, and LeBron knows, okay, they're going to come back with this in games 2 and 3 because they had success in games 1, and I can get them because I know where the weaknesses are.
Such a passionate and verbose take. You were running out of air at the end of that.
I was doing the Jim Carrey thing when he, soccer style kicker, graduated from Collier High.
2 or 3 final words.
I made it, man. I've always been full of hot air. So I was able to get that one out.
The Heat have the coaching edge, in my opinion, and they also have a deeper
Do you think it's a big coaching edge? Because I think Frank Vogel's a little
He's good, but how much is he coaching versus how much is LeBron? Want to get his input?
Okay, I'll say this too. I'll give you Spoelstra over Vogel, but Vogel's staff is really good.
It is a good staff.
Vogel has head coaches as his assistants on the staff, so I think that it evens out the overall coaching dynamic.
Nicely done. Okay. You had to find the word there, but you found it, and it sounded very good. Give me a bet Miami-related tonight. It can be game-related, but we're going to do a little bit of a Laker conversation here in a moment. Give me something Miami-related for game one.
Remember that jacket I was wearing on Daily Wager this morning?
It's beautiful. The beautiful salmon, or do we call it
pink? Oh, it's pink. It's straight up.
We do call it pink.
Miami Vice pink. So not only...
Is that the official
That's the official
color, Miami Vice? It feels like you added the cool part.
Well, maybe I did.
It is a cool name.
Not only...
Jealous, I don't have Miami Vice pink today.
I don't even need...
I have Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, that's more of a... This is pointillism.
Whatever this is.
It's pointillism. I am so confident in the Miami Heat tonight, I'm not even going to take the 4.5 points. I'm going to take the money line.
Money line.
Miami Heat money line, I think right now plus 165. Again, riding that trend that LeBron is 1-8 in Game 1s in NBA Finals history in his career. And I just think Miami right now, they're coming off beating a better Boston team, a better Milwaukee team. I think they're going to be the hotter team right now coming into Game 1 because they've played better competition than the Lakers have.
I'm going to play into that with you as well. I'm going to go under 217.5. You know me, I am a glutton for punishment. I love betting against scoring when everyone in every sport is scoring runs and points everywhere. I continue to bet unders, and I will be doing that again
a wet blanket
tonight. A wet blanket indeed, sir. I think the total's too high. This is a higher total than I believe any game we saw in the entire series between Miami and Boston. The bookmakers know the public likes to bet overs. This is Game 1 of the NBA Finals. They know that it's coming. In addition, these two teams don't play at a very high pace. They go a little bit slower. In fact, I think they were bottom 4 or 5 in pace of the 16 playoff teams. They play very good defense out on the three-point line. Neither team has shot the three all that well in the playoffs so far. I think it's going to be very methodical. I think it's going to be a slower pace. They get to feel each other out. Lots of twos rather than threes. And if you want points, you want threes over twos. That's the math. That's the big brain right there.
I called you a wet blanket, but I do agree with you. I do think under is the play here in this game. So
very nice of you. Thank you.
I'm a soggy blanket.
Let's move to the Lakers now. Soggy blanket. Let's move to the Lakers. Plus 400 to win the series. It's like as disrespectful as it could possibly be to the Miami Heat that they are this big of a favorite. LeBron James, if he gets this championship, it's going to be 3 teams he's won rings with. Where's this going to put him historically? First of all, I should set it up for the people.
Right.
Do you already have him above Jordan?
I personally do.
Okay.
But for those that argue that Jordan is better, they have a lot of great merit to stand on. I personally believe that LeBron has had to accomplish what he has had in a much more difficult era of basketball. I think MJ feasted on a lull in terms of overall talent in the league in the 90s, and right now we're in kind of a golden era like it was in the 80s of basketball since LeBron has come to power. But to me, he's already at least equal, for me, better than Jordan. If he wins a fourth title, with a third championship or a third different franchise, and then adds a fourth Finals MVP to that, if that is indeed the case, for those who are Jordan is better, you have to admit that LeBron is closer at least. You have to admit if he pulls this off that he's closer.
Human beings by nature are irrational, but human beings also thrive on nostalgia. The way we dress, the music we listen to, people yearn for the old days. We're living in the moment of LeBron. We are so terrible with technology in this day and age of enjoying the moment. We have to look to the past on everything. I think that's part of Jordan's appeal is that we look back to the shoes and the tongue and everything else. And with James, we have him now and we don't appreciate him. I think 20 years from now when you and I are old guys in the retirement home, we'll be looking around saying, oh, LeBron, this new kid, not at all like LeBron James. Let me tell you what he did with the Lakers against the Heat. People are going to be like, nah, I don't want to hear that. They're going to want to focus on, whatever it may be. We're going to appreciate him more down the road when we get there.
Here's another question, though. How much longer do you think LeBron is operating at this level?
I wanted to throw in the towel for a while, but he continues to prove me wrong. He's going to be, what, 36?
He'll be 36 in December. I think LeBron James will be operating at this level until 38 or 39. I don't think we don't even start to see the decline until 38 or 39. And then if at 40, 41, he's 80% of LeBron James, that's still a really freaking good basketball player. And who knows what team he's on, who's with him and AD in LA. So the window is not closing. It's still, for me, very much open for LeBron to add to his legacy for the next 4 or 5 years.
Led the league in assists this year. He just decided
he
messed around and led the league in assists.
Again, it's remarkable.
So let's talk MVP. You alluded to the fact that perhaps if he wins this championship, wins another MVP, what that could do for the legacy. Well, he and Anthony Davis are at the top of the board when it comes to your MVP odds, which I believe we might have a little clever graphic for you coming in just a moment. When you are at a position of trying to make a wager on this, how are you looking at this? Are you even attacking anyone from the Miami Heat side?
There's only 2 players I would bet to win the MVP in this series. And
of the whole series?
The whole entire series.
Okay.
I'm only going to bet 2 players. If the Lakers win, if that's who I think is going to win, I'm going to bet LeBron James as the overwhelming favorite.
Anthony Davis.
Not Anthony Davis.
Why not?
I think the likelihood that Davis is the MVP is something in the 15 to 20% range because Davis would have to 40 points and 15 rebound average, have like 2 or 3 signature moments in the series, game winner like he hit against the Denver Nuggets, a big block like we saw from Bam Adebayo against Jason Tatum. And can Davis do that? Of course he can. He's one of the best players in the world. But the likelihood is, for me, is that even if LeBron James plays in the game the Lakers lose, he's going to put up 30, 10, and 10.
Barkley was dogging him for a bad game in the last series when he had a triple-double. He said he had a bad game. He still had a triple-double.
There have been players who have literally been awarded the MVP in the finals for holding LeBron James to 35 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds.
If you go back and look at those numbers, it's like LeBron's still 8. How did he get this award?
And Kawhi Leonard, when he won the MVP his first time with San Antonio, it was because he held LeBron James to 28, 10, and 8 at 53% from the field.
Running out of air again.
I mean, like, this is the standard that LeBron is held to. So if the Lakers win, again, AD would have to be outrageously good, maybe one of the greatest single finals performances we've ever seen for him to win. Otherwise, it's LeBron.
Lakers, get some air. Okay. I'm coming right back to you. Lakers-based pick. You just gave out the Heat on the money line tonight. Game 1 tonight, Laker-based. Which way are you going?
I talked about how I do like an under for LeBron points at 28.5 because of the way the Heat defend him. I also think that makes LeBron more probing, not passive, but probing. So I'll go over 8.5 assists.
Probing.
I think he's going to be setting up teammates. I don't think he's going to be looking to be hyper aggressive towards the rim. He's going to be trying to set his teammates up. So over 8.5 assists for LeBron.
I'll give you a pick, and this is for anyone out there that might like the Lakers but doesn't want to lay the minus 400 because it's a big price, right? Play LeBron to win the MVP at minus 170. Sure. If the Lakers win the championship, which they're favored to do, and you might want to bet, but you don't want to lay the 400, play LeBron on the MVP. It's LeBron or it's AD is my cohort here, so clearly laid out. Anthony Davis is going to have to deal with Bam Adebayo. And at some point throughout the course of that series, that might hurt the stats a bit. LeBron's going to get his whether it's a bad game or not. We just talked about it. A triple-double even in a bad performance, according to Charles Barkley. The numbers throughout the course of the playoffs, Davis is scoring 2 more points per game. James is out rebounding him, out assisting him. It's the big marquee name. LeBron James, minus 170 to win the MVP. If you like the Lakers, it's a way to do it a little bit cheaper with some risk there. All right. So, final segment, NFL betting through week 3. I want to show you something a bit odd. Are you ready?
Well, can I before we jump into that, can I say if you think the Heat are going to win, Bam Adebayo at 12 to 1.
Bam Adebayo
at 12 to 1 would be the MVP.
What is this? Look at this. That's symmetry.
I think if you're a bookmaker, this is like
golf clap?
Yeah.
Golf clap for the bookmaker.
I was going to say this is like turning on Cinemax at like midnight. You know, when you're 14 years old. I mean, this gets you going right here. I mean, if you're a bookmaker, how much better can you feel about yourself?
Rake it in the juice.
By just making everything a 50-50 proposition.
This is absolutely incredible right here. This goes to show you how difficult it is to make money betting the NFL. It's difficult to make money betting any sport, but this sport is so sharp when it comes to the bookmakers. Plus, if you're waiting till Sunday morning to make your bets, you're already late. That's what I do. I don't hold myself out to be a professional. I love to bet sports. I've been betting it for a long time. I'm a student of the game. But the guys who know this stuff are betting into those lines immediately, sharpening them up. But by the time you get there, there's very little to pick through. But the bookmakers have been razor sharp so far this year. Razor sharp. One graphic, though, or I should say one stat, as balanced as they were, totals, over-unders. Overs, take a look at this. Now, this is not balanced. Overs cashing like crazy. That's 60.4% through 3 weeks. The best we've seen in the last 35 years.
Is that a trend we think continues, Joe Fortenbaugh? Or what explains it, Joe Fortenbaugh?
What explains it would be a couple things. Number 1, penalties. Look at the penalties at the bottom. They're not calling holding penalties. Except in the Pittsburgh game against Denver when I had the Steelers, they kept stalling my drives and I didn't end up covering the 7. Penalties have been at an all-time low. They're letting them play, first and foremost. Number 2, offenses are having a very easy time communicating scrimmage on the road.
Talked about
CenturyLink Field isn't hostile. Minnesota isn't hostile. The Voodoo Dome isn't hostile. You add all that stuff up, quarterbacks are having an easy time talking to their guys.
And the lack of preseason, the lack of like real live game action, I think defenses have struggled a little bit with, getting used to the physicality. Missed tackles, things of that nature. The offense has taken advantage of it. We see the average total in week 4 being almost 50. Are you going to be betting unders then for week 4?
So here's a little look into my life. I came into week 3 and I was looking at these numbers. It was still 60%. I said, the unders are coming. The unders are coming. So you know what I did? I bet unders. And I got worked. I had the under in that Dallas-Seattle game. I was dead in the water right from the start. Then I said, you know what? I'm jumping back on the over train Monday night, Ravens-Chiefs. I want to bet overs. I want to have fun. Game went under. So no matter what I say, it's going the other direction.
I think I'm going to still bet overs. I think I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to stick with it until the trend changes. I don't want
You'd rather be late?
I would rather be the last one leaving the party after having all that fun, cashing overs, and, losing my shoes somewhere and stumbling out the house. I'm always losing my shoes.
Why do you lose your shoes at a party?
Because I'm often
do you take your shoes off when you walk into the party?
talking about them. They're often a centerpice. They're often a centerpiece of conversation. So
That's
I
how they
take
do
them
it in
off.
Scandinavia.
And yeah, you
it's
take
very
your, when you go
Hugh
to someone's house as a guest, you take your shoes off and you leave them at the door. And then
It's very Hugh
I forget
don't
after I've
track
had
their-
all that vodka and. Well,
Vodka's your drink?
I'm a gin guy. I'm a gin guy.
Ugh.
I'm a gin guy.
I mean, what do you say after something like that? Something so profound.
But wearing all this pink, I'm a Miami Vice guy today. Give me that daiquiri
I see
pina
that.
colada mix.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for the Thursday installment of That.